What is up, guys? Welcome back to the official Triton YouTube channel. My name's Connor. Today we're talking first focal plane optics versus second focal plane optics and which one's best for you. Before we get into that, go ahead and scroll down, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We're going to be doing a giveaway when we hit 10,000 subscribers. That'll be over on Instagram, so go ahead and head over there and give us a follow. So to kick things off, let's talk about first focal plane. What is first focal plane? What does it mean? Here in front of us, we have a Triton Navigator 1:6 first focal plane LPVO. With any first focal plane optic, the reticle is etched on the front of the magnification lens. This means regardless of your magnification level, your holdovers will be accurate. As you increase and decrease your magnification, your reticle will also increase and decrease in size. A couple things to keep in mind regarding first focal plane optics. First of all, they tend to be quite a bit more expensive than second focal plane. Another thing to consider is that when you're at base magnification, the reticle will appear quite a bit smaller than it would on, say, a second focal plane optic. As you zoom in and increase your magnification, that reticle will increase. But it can be a little bit challenging to see when you're at base magnification. Folks that are really into competitive shooting or ballistics calculations when they're shooting are going to enjoy a first focal plane optic. Because as I mentioned previously, those holdovers are accurate at every single level of magnification. Now, let's pivot and talk about second focal plane optics for a minute. These are typically more common and more affordable than first focal plane optics. The way they are different is that the reticle is etched in behind the magnification lens. This means that regardless of your magnification level, that reticle is going to be the same size. Something to keep in mind with a second focal plane optic is that technically your holdovers are only accurate at full magnification. I've heard stories of guys going out to deer hunt and they're at magnification level 4 when their optic can zoom all the way into a magnification level of 8, and they try and use their holdovers and they completely miss a deer. You don't want to be that guy. So keep that in mind as you're using a second focal plane optic. If you want your holdovers to be perfectly accurate, you need to be at full magnification. Now, this might not be as big of a concern on an optic like this that's a 1:4, but if you have, say, a 1:8 or a 1:10 even, that margin of error is going to be a lot higher, and you're really going to notice that those holdovers are not anywhere close to where you're aiming. I'm not going to be taking many long-range shots with an LPVO. I typically use them for training around the range. I'm really not shooting an LPVO more than, say, 200 yards. But if I were to take a long-range shot and maybe push out to 500-600 yards, I would be looking to use, say, a 6x24 more traditional long-range scope. First focal plane and second focal plane still matters. And in fact, that's really where you would begin to notice and realize the importance of it. When you're calculating your holdovers on a long-range shot like that, first focal plane versus second focal plane will begin to factor in. So personally, I'm using an LPVO most of the time at the range or hunting. Really 100 to 150, 200 yard shots. I'm not stretching my legs out too far. A lot of my shots are a lot closer, and I'm not having to do things like calculate holdovers when I'm on the range trying to hit a gong. For that reason, I don't think it's always the right decision to spend the extra money on a first focal plane LPVO. If you are trying to stretch your legs more and, say, take shots at 500-600 yards, even 1,000 yard shots, first focal plane might make more sense for you. There's a lot higher margin of error with those long range shots, and it might be a good idea for you to make that investment and get a first focal plane optic. So comment down below, let us know if you prefer second focal plane or first focal plane optics. While you're down there, go ahead and let us know what type of shooting you typically do as well. Tell us why. So let's just recap a little bit of what we've discussed here today. First focal plane optics are going to be for folks who are into competitive shooting, long range shooting, or maybe you just want to build out a rifle and make it as bougie as possible. That's first focal plane optics. Second focal plane optics are a lot more affordable, they're simpler, and you've probably been using one your whole life and didn't even realize it. The good news is that Triton offers budget-friendly first focal plane and second focal plane optics. So if you want to, you can give them both a shot without going into serious credit card debt. That's all we've got for you here today. Go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. When we hit 10,000 subscribers, we're going to be doing a giveaway. That'll be on Instagram, so make sure you follow us there. You don't want to miss that. And I'll see you guys on the next one.